They say working in a bar teaches you more about human behavior than a psychology degree. I wouldn't know. I dropped psych after 2 semesters and switched to pre-med. But I've been slinging drinks and clearing tables at the Hollow Tap for 2 years, and trust me, I've seen it all: breakups, hookups, ugly crying, worse dancing, fake IDs, and one guy who tried to pay for a round with crypto. No one knows how to pronounce Ethereum after 5 shots of tequila. But that night changed everything. It started like any other Thursday. Sam, our brooding bartender with eyes like tired oceans, was running late. Again. He's always late, but I never call him on it because, well, I like the way he pours my coffee before even asking. And because I think he's secretly broken, in a kind of beautiful, poetic way that makes you want to hold him until he stops pretending he's okay. I was wiping down table 6 when he finally walked in, hair messy, leather jacket soaked from the rain. "Sorry," he muttered, dropping his bag behind the counter. "Got stuck on the bridge." Did the bridge talk back this time? I teased. He almost smiled. Almost. The regulars started pouring in around 7. Carl, our grumpy Vietnam vet who insists the jukebox is haunted. Brenda, the retired English teacher who orders hot water and brings her own tea. And Tina, our night manager and single mom who could kill a man with her glare and would, if he flirted with her while she's counting tips. And then he walked in. Tall. Sharp suit. Black wool coat, even though it wasn't that cold. No umbrella. He didn't look like the finance bros who sometimes drop by after work. No Rolex. No loud voice. He had that stillness, the kind you only see in people who've seen too much or lost something big. He sat at the bar. Alone. Didn't look at the menu. Just said, "McAllen." Neat. Sam raised an eyebrow but poured him a double. For 2 hours, the guy didn't touch his phone. Didn't talk to anyone. Just sipped slowly, eyes fixed on some invisible point behind the bar like he was watching a memory only he could see. Around 10, I walked over to ask if he needed anything else. He smiled faintly and said, "No. Thank you, Jules." I froze. "How, do you know my name?" He didn't answer. Just stood up, pulled out his wallet, and dropped a single $100 bill on the tab. Then, without a word, he pulled out a folded piece of paper and slipped it under his glass. As he turned to leave, he nodded at Sam, not friendly, not cold. Just, knowing. We both stared as the door closed behind him. Sam picked up the note. There was cash under it. A lot of cash. "Holy," I whispered. "Is that real?" 10,000, Sam said, voice flat. "In hundreds." I reached for the note. He stopped me. "I'll read it," he said. Slowly, he unfolded it. "This money is yours. But there's a condition. You can't use it for yourself. Use it to change someone's life. If you accept, wait for instructions." I looked at Sam. He looked at the cash like it might explode. "You think it's a joke?" I asked. He shrugged. "If it is, it's an expensive one." We stared at each other. For a second, I thought he was going to laugh. But he didn't. That night, I couldn't sleep. Was he some eccentric billionaire testing humanity? An angel? A scam artist? Why did he say my name? And more than that, who should the money go to? Carl, whose PTSD keeps him up at night. Brenda, who pretends she's just frugal but once admitted her pension barely covers rent. Tina, who's one car breakdown away from losing her job. Or maybe Sam. I've seen the way he stares at the old piano in the corner. He used to play, back when he had a band. Before the divorce. Before the drinking got bad. Before he stopped believing in second chances. I kept turning the idea over in my head like a stone in my pocket. A gift, with rules. A stranger, who knew my name. And Sam, who now had the power to change a life, but not his own. There's something strange about watching people without them knowing. It feels wrong, but also revealing. Like peeling back the mask they wear in front of the world. You start to notice the small stuff, the sighs, the fake smiles, the hands that shake a little when they think no one's watching. Sam was different the next morning. He didn't talk much, not that he ever does, but now it felt like his silence was full. Like his head was a jar someone had shaken too hard and now all the pieces were floating around in there, clinking. He cleaned the bar 3 times before noon. Scrubbed the same spot until I thought the wood would come off. When I finally cornered him behind the fridge, he looked at me like he'd forgotten I existed. "You okay?" I asked. He shrugged. "Didn't sleep. Thinking about the money. That, and the note." He didn't have to explain. I couldn't stop thinking about it either. That envelope, fat with clean, crisp bills, still sat in the safe under the counter. Locked, untouched. I kept imagining what it would feel like to just take it. Not for myself, well, maybe a tiny bit, but for someone who needed it. Someone who deserved it. But who gets to decide that? That night, the bar was packed. Some local wedding party had overflowed from the hotel next door, and we were drowning in shots and shrieks and sparkly dresses. I was carrying a tray full of lemon drops when I spotted Carl sitting by himself near the back. No drink in front of him, just that old army cap he only wears when he's having a bad head day. I dropped off the shots and walked over. "Hey, Carl," I said gently. "You good?" He nodded, eyes bloodshot. "Noise gets to me. But I like the company. Don't want to be alone." I sat beside him, just for a minute. His hand trembled slightly as he toyed with a sugar packet. "I had a buddy," he said. "Back then." He used to hum to himself. Real quiet, like a lullaby. Drove me crazy. But now? I'd kill to hear it again. He looked at me. "Funny, huh?" I smiled. "Not funny. Human." Tina stormed into the back 20 minutes later, tossing her phone on the counter like it had personally offended her. "X is late again," she growled. "Said he'd pick up the girls. Now he's stuck at work, which probably means he's drinking with that raccoon-faced girlfriend." Sam and I exchanged a look. Tina's mama bear mode is no joke. "You need to go?" I asked. She sighed. "Can't. Rent's due. I need this shift." That's Tina, spine of steel, eyes like espresso, heart buried under 20 layers of sarcasm. She once told me her dream was to open a food truck called Tina's Tacos and Therapy. She wasn't even joking. Sam came up beside her. "You want me to cover?" "I can close." She blinked. "You sure?" He nodded. "Go be mom." Tina looked like she might cry, but instead she just gave him a quick, awkward hug and left. Sam watched her go, and I swear I saw something like respect flicker across his face. Around midnight, Brenda came in, soaked from the rain, umbrella shredded like a dead bird. "Storm snuck up on me," she said cheerfully, shaking out her coat. "I was reading at the park again. Lost track of time." Brenda's the kind of woman who says things like, "The world is still full of wonder," and somehow means it. She taught literature for 40 years. Retired last spring. Her pension barely covers food and rent, but she still leaves tips and writes little thank you notes on napkins. She ordered her usual hot water, took her seat near the jukebox, and pulled out a tattered copy of The Little Prince. "You ever think about how we're all just kids who got taller?" she asked me, out of nowhere. I laughed. "Yeah. Some of us are still trying to learn how to color inside the lines. And then there's Jake. Jake is one of our barbacks, young, hot in a trouble with dimples kind of way. Flirts with everything that breathes. I caught him sneaking a shot behind the bar last week, and now I've got a bad feeling in my gut. Tonight, he was acting twitchy. Too slick. I noticed him pocket something when he thought no one was looking, then winked at me like he knew my secrets. I told Sam. He didn't say anything, but his jaw clenched tight. At closing time, Sam poured us both a drink. Just one. We sat in silence for a while, the bar empty and quiet except for the hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of the floorboards settling. "I've been watching them," he said finally. "All of them. Like the note said." "Me too," I said. He turned to me, eyes dark, thoughtful. "They all deserve it, Jules. Every single one. How the hell am I supposed to choose?" And then, softer, almost to himself. "I could fix a broken car, or a broken heart. But I can't do both." I reached out and put my hand on his. "Not romantic. Not yet. Just, connection. You're not alone in this," I said. He nodded, then gave me a look I couldn't quite read, part gratitude, part something more. Something dangerous. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about the money anymore. It was about what came after. The first time I held $10,000 in my hands, I felt two things at once, power and panic. It was early. Too early. The bar was still closed, but Sam had let me in before his shift started. He had the envelope out, the bills spread on the bar like a magician revealing his final trick. Crisp. Unmarked. Real. "Feels like a trap," I said. Sam didn't look up. Or a test. He handed me the note again, as if I hadn't memorized it already. "This money is yours. But there's a condition. You can't use it for yourself. Use it to change someone's life. If you accept, wait for instructions." We'd been waiting. Days. No message. No sign of the stranger. Just that haunting feeling in the back of your neck, like someone's watching. I spent the day obsessing over what it meant to change someone's life. Did it mean saving them? Rescuing them? Giving them a shot they'd never get otherwise? And if so, who? Carl, who still flinches every time someone drops a glass. Brenda, who wraps leftover sugar packets in napkins and takes them home. Tina, whose shoulders are so heavy with responsibility, it's a miracle she's still standing. And then there's Sam. Sam, who makes everyone else's problems his own but doesn't think he deserves fixing. Who once told me in passing that his ex-wife took the piano when she left, like it was just furniture. As if it hadn't been his heartbeat. Around sunset, I caught Jake trying to charm a girl at the bar, a new one, blonde, pretty, confused. He leaned too close, laughed too loud, and when she turned away to check her phone, I swear he reached toward her bag. I stepped in. "Hey, Jake. Walk-in fridge needs reorganizing. You're up." He scowled but obeyed. After he left, the girl thanked me. Her name was Maya. She was just passing through, on a road trip to find herself. You know, one of those wide-eyed souls who hadn't been broken by the world yet. She told me I had kind eyes. I wanted to laugh. If only she saw what was going on behind them. Later, Sam and I were alone again. The place was quiet. Even the jukebox had shut up for the night. "Did you ever think," I said slowly, "that maybe this isn't about the money at all?" He looked at me. "Then what is it?" "Maybe it's about us. What we'll do with it. Who we become." He didn't answer right away. "Then, what if we choose wrong?" I smiled faintly. "Then we learn. That's life." There was a long pause. Then, without looking at me, Sam asked, "What would you do with it?" I hesitated. "Honestly?" He nodded. "I'd pay off Tina's tuition. She applied for nursing school. Didn't tell anyone yet. Probably afraid of jinxing it." He looked surprised. "She applied?" he asked. "Yeah. I saw the acceptance letter in her bag when it fell open last week." Sam exhaled. "That's, wow." "I know," I said, voice soft. "She acts so tough, but she's terrified she'll never get out of this place." An hour later, we got our first clue. It came as a text. To the bar's phone. No name. No number. One person. One chance. Choose before midnight Friday. That gave us 48 hours. The note was real. The next day, things started unraveling. First, Jake didn't show up. Tina found him in the alley, slumped against the dumpster. Drunk. High. Both. He was half-conscious and shaking. She drove him to the clinic and stayed until he sobered up. Then she came back to work like nothing happened. Like she wasn't the one barely holding it all together. I watched her pour drinks with the same hands that had just cleaned puke off her hoodie. I felt something ache in my chest. Later that night, I found Carl asleep at table 4. Head down, arms crossed. I shook him gently and he woke with a start, eyes wild, breathing hard. Sorry, he mumbled. Didn't mean to doze. Didn't sleep last night. I didn't ask why. He wouldn't tell me. But I saw the bags under his eyes and the pink hospital band still on his wrist. He tried to hide it, but I noticed. I'm fine, he lied. We all lie like that. At closing, I confronted Sam. We have to pick someone, I said. Or we lose the chance. He rubbed his face. I know. I think it should be Tina, I said. She's saving everyone but herself. Sam looked torn. I was thinking Carl. That surprised me. He's not okay, he said. His VA benefits are delayed again. He's one step from a breakdown. I nodded slowly. What about Brenda? Sam's voice cracked slightly. She asked me if we needed extra help here. She wants to work. At 72. We sat in silence for a long time. Then he looked at me, really looked. Maybe the only fair thing is to split it. I shook my head. The note said one person. Maybe that's the real test, he whispered. Will we follow the rule, or break it for the right reasons? That night, I walked home with my thoughts in a knot. My feet hurt. My heart hurt more. I couldn't stop thinking about what Sam said. About rules. About choices. About the way he looked at me like he saw the parts one tried to hide, the tired, hungry, hopeful parts. And didn't flinch. I wondered what the stranger would think of us now. I wondered what I thought of us now. And as I lay in bed, wide awake, one final thought burned into my brain. What if the stranger was still watching? I've always hated clocks. They tick too loudly when you're nervous and move too slowly when you're waiting for something good, or too fast when you need time to think. And tonight, the clock behind the bar was the enemy. Midnight was coming. Sam and I still hadn't decided who would get the money. That absurd, glorious, impossible gift. $10,000 in an envelope, and a condition that weighed more than the cash inside. One person. One life. Changed. What does that even mean? Change can be good. Change can be bad. Change can wreck you before it rebuilds you. I should know. When I was 22, I wanted to be a dancer. Not professionally. Just enough to feel alive. But then my mom got sick, and I traded ballet shoes for bartender tips and grocery bills. Life rearranges you like that, quietly, cruelly. But this felt like a second chance. Not for me, necessarily, but for someone. I thought about Tina. Her hands raw from double shifts. Her eyes lighting up just for a second when she talked about nursing school, then dimming like it was all a fantasy. I thought about Brenda. The way she folded napkins like origami to keep her fingers from trembling. She deserved a break, not more shifts. And Carl. God, Carl. Stoic on the outside, but I saw the tremors in his hands when he thought no one was watching. And of course, Sam. Sam who never asked for help. Who carried his past like a badge and a burden. Who fixed the jukebox with a butter knife and still left poems under people's receipts like secrets? Tonight was busy, like the universe knew we needed distraction. A bachelor party rolled in around 8, already tipsy and loud. One guy wore a glittery sash that said, Grimzilla. He tipped in singles and demanded shots with names I had to Google. I needed that laugh. Then Maya came back. The traveler girl. The one who thought I had kind eyes. She asked if we were hiring. Said she needed to pause her journey and just breathe somewhere real. I told her we'd talk after the rush. Brenda brought her homemade cookies again. Oatmeal raisin. Said she just had a feeling people needed sweetness tonight. I think she was talking about more than cookies. And Jake. Jake showed up. To everyone's surprise, including his own, he was sober. Apologetic. Twitchy as hell, but present. He asked if he could work a shift. I said no, but I let him help with dishes. Maybe that was the wrong call. Maybe it was the kind one. It was 11:27 p.m. when Sam slipped beside me behind the bar. He smelled like cinnamon and something heavier, maybe fear. You decide, he asked quietly. I shook my head. You? He hesitated, then reached into his back pocket and pulled out the envelope. It looked thinner somehow. Or maybe it just felt heavier. I was gonna give it to Carl, he said. Until I saw what Tina did for Jake. No questions. Just showed up. I looked down. She's brave. Brave people deserve more than survival. He nodded. Then I thought, maybe we give it to Maya. Start her journey right. I laughed. She's been here 2 nights. She brought a calm this place needed. I think that's called being pretty. He smirked. Hey, calm's calm. We were quiet again. What if we just, I started, then stopped. He raised an eyebrow. What? What if we didn't follow the rules? He looked at me for a long moment. You saying we split it? I nodded. Split it. 5 ways. Everyone gets $2,000. It's not life-changing. But maybe it's life-nudging. He smiled, slowly, like it was unlocking something inside him. I like nudging. At 11:52 p.m., we did it. We called a staff meeting, the Midnight Miracle, we dubbed it. Everyone looked confused, some annoyed. Jake was still rinsing pint glasses. Sam stood on the bar like a lunatic preacher. I read the note out loud again. Their faces changed from disbelief to awe to worry. Then Sam said, we're breaking the rule. Because that's what this bar does. We bend for each other. He pulled out 5 small envelopes, cash already divided. Brenda cried. Carl said nothing but hugged me so tight I could feel every unsaid word. Tina whispered, this means I can send my deposit. I can go. Jake didn't take his envelope at first. I don't deserve it, he said. I grabbed his hand and shoved it into his palm. Start believing you do. Midnight passed. The bar went still. No thunder, no lightning. No masked stranger revealing himself from the shadows to scold us for cheating. Just the soft sound of the jukebox restarting, as if to say, well done. I felt something shift in me then. Like the world had cracked open and let a little light leak in. Sam caught my eye. We stood across from each other, the noise fading, time slowing, the distance between us charged with something unspoken. He stepped forward. Barely. Enough to close a space that had been lingering too long. And with the kind of boldness you only get once the universe gives you a sign, I leaned in and kissed him. Just once. Soft. Warm. Honest. Then I pulled back and smiled. Don't get cocky. He laughed. Too late. I went home lighter that night. The kind of light that comes not from losing weight, but from setting something heavy down. Hope. Guilt. Maybe even fear. We'd broken a rule. But in doing so, we'd given 5 people a little more reason to keep going. And maybe, just maybe, that was the point all along. There's a kind of silence that only exists right before dawn. It's not just the absence of noise, it's like the world's holding its breath. No footsteps. No laughter. Just the sound of ice melting in a forgotten glass and the steady hum of the beer cooler. That's where I was, barefoot, still behind the bar, wearing Sam's hoodie and yesterday's eyeliner, letting the silence sink in. Because something had changed. Not just because we split the money. Not just because the mysterious envelope brought a wave of impossible generosity into our chaotic little bar. But because we'd actually done it. We'd chosen kindness. Together. The night before had ended with toasts and laughter. Carl sang karaoke for the first time in 20 years. Brenda danced like her hips weren't 40 years past retirement. Even Jake smiled, and I don't mean that broken, twitchy smirk. I mean a real one. And Sam. He kissed me again. This time outside, under the flickering neon sign. No audience. Just us. It wasn't fireworks or slow-motion movie magic. It was better. It was real. I didn't sleep much after that. Too wired. Too full. But reality always arrives with the sunrise. By 8 a.m., Tina was gone. Not in a dramatic way, just gone. A post-it left on the fridge. Off to orientation. Nursing school starts Monday. I love you weirdos. She'd packed her life into 2 duffel bags and walked toward her dream. I stared at that note for a long time, smiling and crying like someone in a coffee commercial. That was the first unexpected goodbye. The second came around noon. Maya, the wanderer, sat me down and handed me a shell. Yeah, a seashell. Said it was from the first beach she ever saw. You keep it, she said. You're the most grounded person I've met, and I think you need to remember the ocean exists. She hugged me. Smelled like cinnamon and sage. Then she was gone too. No ceremony. Just freedom on her terms. Jake stayed. Which was the third surprise. He asked if he could keep working dishes for free until Sam officially hired him. Said the money from the envelope went to fixing his bike and a new pair of boots. And therapy. That last part shocked me. I need to stop running, he told me. Not just from others. From myself. I nodded. Then start here. He scrubbed glasses like they owed him money. It was oddly inspiring. And Sam, oh, Sam. We danced around each other for most of the day. Not avoiding. Just orbiting. He made coffee for everyone at 3 p.m. and tried to pretend he knew how to use the espresso machine. I watched him from the doorway, foam everywhere, and thought, I could stay like this for a long time. But staying was the scary part. We finally talked during the lull before the evening crowd. I was restocking lemon wedges. He was fixing the sink, again. You ever think about leaving? He asked, eyes on the wrench. I paused. I used to. All the time. And now? I didn't answer right away. I think I've spent so long surviving that I forgot I'm allowed to want more. He nodded slowly. Me too. Then he looked up, really looked. You want to want it here? With me? My heart did a weird little 2-step. Not a proposal. Not even a promise. Just, space. I think I might, I whispered. Later that night, something happened that none of us expected. The stranger came back. Not the stranger. Not the man in the blue jacket with the golden envelope. But another one, older, wearing a faded navy pea coat, and walking with a cane. He ordered a ginger ale and sat at the far end of the bar. Didn't speak much. After an hour, I finally asked, You waiting for someone? He nodded. No one in particular. Just wanted to see what kind of place can birth a miracle. I blinked. Excuse me? He slid something toward me. A black card with a single word embossed in silver, Watkins. I felt my breath catch. That was the name on the original envelope. He smiled softly. He was my brother. Died last month. Always said if he couldn't make a difference alive, he'd do it after. Then he stood, nodded once, and walked out into the night. The world stopped spinning for a second. Sam came over. I handed him the card. He read it, then looked at me like we were both living in a dream. We didn't mess it up, I whispered. No, he said. We made it count. That night, the jukebox played a weird mix of old-school soul and early 2000s punk rock. Brenda wore glitter eyeshadow. Carl brought his dog inside, and no one complained. Jake told a joke so bad I laughed for 5 straight minutes. And Sam kissed me again. Not a maybe. Not a question. A promise. Here's what I know now. Life won't always give you clarity. It'll rarely give you closure. But sometimes, if you're lucky, it gives you a moment. A bar. A family. And the choice to be better than you were the day before.